Debbie, as we're working through going live, do I go ahead and start? It's 6:01.
Jason or Debbie?
It didn't know what.
Good to go.
All right, thank you for joining us tonight for our special meeting at 6 p.m. with KSB. Dr. Miller is here to kind of start working us through the process of what the superintendent search is going to look like. So without any further ado, Dr. Miller, if you'd like to take it over.
Thank you very much. Where are our board members? Okay.
Yes, sure, the caution goes around the fire.
Limited number of.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So, okay. Okay, so that's it.
If it's,
Oh,
you did get all
the
board members.
I did get all the boys. That's what I was aiming for. Well, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. It's always a pleasure to be in Hayesville, and I'm with the Leadership Services Department at KASB. I actually retired in 2022 after 39 years in public ed in South Central Kansas. I am now a recovering HR guy. So, you know, us HR guys. And I also want to note that I realize I'm here tonight is Jeff's fault, and I will keep reminding him of that. Yeah, absolutely. And have also had great friendships with Dr. Stifler, Dr. Craig, and those HR connections that go back years and years and years. So lots of fond memories working with Hayesville over the years. We're here to kind of review the outline and the steps related to our search process. I went ahead and gave you our booklets because I felt pretty confident that this is the direction the board is headed. If we don't sign a contract tonight, I'm taking my books back. That's all there is to it. So you don't get to keep the books unless we have a contract. But I did want to spend a little bit of time kind of talking through the overall process. And I think the easiest way to do that without going through a big PowerPoint show or something like that is just page you through a little bit of our search guide. And I'm going to ask you to start on page 2. If you just turn there with me, you will want to hang on to this guide for the duration of the process and treat it gently and safely and keep it close to your heart. This is our process. We are proud of our process. It also includes a lot of information for applicants, for your process with applicants, including interview questions and things like that. So we really don't want this being published so that people can peek at the questions ahead of time. So keep it to yourselves, please, if you would do so. But page 2 gives a nice overview of our 5 phases, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each of them this evening, kind of walk you through that process. Phase 1 is tonight. It's going to happen pretty quick. Announcement and timeline. We're going to review the agreement. We're going to talk about the timeline. We'll get a signed contract. If we get all of that done tonight, the job will be posted tomorrow. I'll have a draft contract for you to sign, and then Debbie and Jennifer, we now follow up with the DocuSign contract. Thanks to our lawyers who want it a little more formal. So that will be coming after we get things back to the office. So that's phase 1. You will also notice, if you dig through the book, some sample marketing resources. One of the things that we will begin working on immediately while we post the job, likely tomorrow sometime, We won't have any marketing materials developed yet, but our coordinator for our department, Lindsay Evans, is a whiz bang of an organizer, and she keeps all of us consultants in line and going across the state. And she will work with Debbie to gather some information to incorporate into some marketing materials, and we will attach those materials to the vacancy posting as we get that finished up over the next few days. So that's also included in your book are just some samples of what those marketing materials look like. And we customize those for your district and try to really highlight what you want to highlight and brag about USD 261 Hayesville. As we go into phase two, this one gets a little bit deeper. Developing desired leadership and personal characteristics for your next superintendent. Included in your handbook are a bunch of preparation documents. We talk about characteristics of focus groups. We've had some emails going on or behind the scenes trying to pick a date because of the busy time of year that we're in, and Thanksgiving and Christmas are really giving us some challenges on finding dates, but I think we're almost there. We have a survey that we make available. I have made an assumption that you will want to utilize the survey. I need to know for sure that you do, but we provide that survey in a link format that can be sent out to your community, site councils, chamber, school staff, whoever you want to send it to. And it's a tool to gather feedback related to the desired characteristics of your next superintendent. So it's a great tool to utilize. That's a part of our process. And we will be working on getting that ready to go out should you choose to do so. We would plan on having that ready for distribution next week and have it open for 2 or 3 weeks. Longer is not necessarily better with electronic surveys. People tend to either do them right when they get the email or they don't do them at all. But we do like to give an opportunity for some reminders and things like that to happen. During those focus groups that we will conduct here in Hayesville, and we will conduct those with whoever you want us to conduct them with. We'll choose a date. I will bring a colleague with me because of the size of the district, and we'll run a couple of different rooms, and we'll be here all day and go through about one group an hour. And that's all to dig a little deeper on what characteristics would you like to see in your next superintendent. And then that evening, we will meet with the board and do a similar activity. And at that time, I will also share with you the survey results, as well as kind of draft form of what we've gathered from the focus groups. There's a letter to invite participants that's in the book, and I'll give you an electronic version as well. We provide some sample media releases along the line, and a number of other goodies that are included in your search guide. Phase 3 is interviews. I'll talk a little bit more about phase 2 here in a second. So let me go ahead and swing through the rest of them. Phase 3 is interviews. We'll have a checklist in there. We always provide you with a list of questions that shouldn't be asked. We ask you to choose from our battery of questions because they have been screened by our legal staff. And there's way more questions than you could ever ask in an hour and a half to 2 hour interview. So it's a great bank. We do give you the opportunity, if there's other things you would like to ask that are not there, I would ask that you just shoot them to me, and I will get with our legal department just to have them reviewed and make sure that we can keep you from getting into trouble with any inappropriate questions or leading questions or anything like that. That's the prepping. You will also during that time, be selecting the questions that you would like to ask individually and sending them to Debbie. Debbie will compile, and then you all will finalize that list of questions at our third meeting. But we want to do that work ahead of time so that we can help Debbie out. She's going to be carrying a lot of the load as if any of, who was involved in the last search? 2 or 3 of you. So our dear clerks do a ton of work. So, and I know Debbie was involved in the last one, so she remembers. And so she will tabulate those and get them back to you at that meeting. Phase 4, after you have had your interviews and you've selected a candidate, that's where you roll into your negotiations with the candidate. We'll come back and talk about a few of these things later on down the line. But we will also have had an opportunity to have a legal review of your current contract in case there's any suggestions that our attorneys want to make to it. Or if you have things that you would like to have added to the contract or reconsidered, that's the great time to do that. And so you can work with your top candidate when it comes time to negotiate with them and bring them on board. We have some sample press releases, sample letters that can be used to go to your community as well as to your folks that you interviewed that didn't select. I typically will go ahead and contact those who applied but were not selected. But we do usually encourage the board to get back with those who you interviewed and let them know. We'll talk more about that later. And then finally, phase 5, that'll happen later on this year when we have an opportunity to come back before you once your new superintendent is seated and conduct a goals and expectations workshop. The entire purpose of that workshop is to set the stage for what's to come and to provide a solid foundation for your relationship that you'll be building. Do we have any new board members coming on in January? No. Okay. Lots of stability. That's fantastic. But that is a great opportunity. We typically don't do those in July just because the July meeting is packed with resolutions and lots of other stuff. So very often it's August or September. And we encourage you, we can do it at a regular board meeting. Those can run 90 minutes to 2 hours. So sometimes it's better to have a special meeting or a work session for that purpose. But we can kick that around later on. In a nutshell, that's our 5 phases, real quick. It's not going to go quite that fast in real time, but that's the overview. Any quick questions on any of that thus far? Yes.
You mentioned if we have questions, will you send us your email or phone?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. In fact, I'll get you my business card before I leave if you think about it.
No charge?
No charge. No. Well, very often on that particular issue, we would say just send your questions to Debbie and she can consolidate them like onto a Word doc and send it to me, and then I'll ship it off to the attorneys. That's an easy way to get them all the information at one time and not piecemeal them with email after email.
Yeah, pick a date for questions or go with Debbie. So
Mhm.
together.
Yeah,
But if it was a specific question about the process, call you or text you.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. If you have a specific question on a process, yep, you're absolutely welcome to call me. Any other questions? I must have done a really good job explaining it.
What's the, how does that candidate pool compare to 2021 when we did this last?
Boy,
Thank you.
that's a crystal ball question right there. Gonna have to
Jeremy likes loaded questions.
Yeah, gonna have to consult some,
Thank you, sir.
crystal balls or something like that. Absolutely. I think this has been a little bit of an unusual start, to the year. I think there are currently, I think it's around 35 searches underway. We're not doing, what was that?
33 Saturday.
33? So I knew I was in the ballpark. We're not doing all of those, but that's a little bit higher than what we normally see. And I was talking one of my colleagues off the ledge, and I said, let's just think positively that people are getting a quicker start at submitting their resignations and their intent, and it's not an indication that we're going to be bombarded. We had a couple of years right after in the 2020 to 2022 that were miserable in terms of searches. We had like 65 or something like that statewide. So we're hopeful we're not headed that direction again. In terms of your search, being Hayesville, Wichita metro area, large district, great district, lots of wonderful things going on. I think we'll have a solid applicant pool. I don't doubt that. Where I start getting nervous is when I'm having this meeting in March.
I know
Yeah.
Dr. Watson said it's Saturday that there's a lot of people retiring early and getting
Yep.
of
Mm.
education. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was just wondering.
Yep.
What that will be like.
Yeah, we will see, like you do, and Jillian can probably talk about the person that applies for every job that you post. We have those too. We have people that apply for every superintendency posting that we put up, and they rarely get an interview. And there's reasons for that, but that's part of what we do, and that screening is so very important. But I anticipate having a solid slate for your district. I think it'll be.
On average,
Mhm.
like on a position like this, how many applicants do you typically get?
It's really hard to say on a large district at this time of year. I know when we did Lawrence last year, which is a little larger, I believe, but we had probably 20 applicants. We may not have quite that many, but I think we'll have a solid pool. And I like to tell people too, it's not necessarily quantity, it's quality.
Sure.
And all we need is one. Of course, you've got, I know you all think very highly of Jeff, and we've got big shoes to fill. Well, I'm confident we'll have a good slate. Yes.
Did you indicate that your group does the first set of interviews? You call or screen it down to just 4 or 5 candidates, or do we get to interview all 18 or however many apply?
Yeah, we screen, we don't interview, but we screen. So we review all the applications, all the application materials. We do background checks, particularly on those that we feel solid are going to be finalists. Background checks are expensive, so we don't do them on everybody that applies, but we will do it on those that we're recommending as finalists. We look at the background check, we check their references, we call people that they've worked with, they didn't list with references, check certifications, check resumes, all of those types of things. As an old HR guy, I look for holes in resumes. Why'd you leave out those 3 years? And I start digging and looking. And we try to do, we do our due diligence. We take it very seriously because we don't want to have you have trouble on down the road because of inadequate screening. What we will do when I come back, and I'll hit that on the timeline, but when I come back the third for our third meeting. This is meeting one. I'll be here a total of 3 times. On the third meeting, I'll come back, and that meeting will be in an executive session. And I will present the candidates to you. I will go over, at least briefly, all the candidates. I will go more in depth over the ones that we are recommending you consider as finalists. And then at the end of that, I'm going to leave you an expanded file with all the applications, which include their resumes, the application itself, their letters of reference, and those types of things. And you are free, the board decides who you want to interview. We make a recommendation. But if you see somebody that we didn't recommend as a finalist that you want to interview, that's the board's right. You can do that. But we will try to narrow the field, typically 3 to 5. I would say interviewing 3 to 4 is a lot. You basically, you need to set aside one day, one evening for each candidate. Those of you who have been through this before, remember that it's a long week. Interviewing 18, if you get 18 applicants, is probably not a good use of your time, but you certainly can interview who you like. Great question, though. Absolutely.
So in phase 2, we developed like what characteristics we're looking for in this
Mhm.
person.
Right.
Then you utilize that also as a portion of when you're narrowing these down, I'm
Yep,
assuming?
absolutely.
Okay.
As we're doing our screening, we are trying to screen not only from our own knowledge, a lot of our applicants are known Kansas entities, so they're sitting superintendents. We know who they are, we know their reputation, we've worked with them and their boards, but we also are comparing your characteristics to the strengths that these folks have. And we do our best to give you finalists that match as best we can to your desired characteristics. It's always hard because very often some of our characteristics are kind of walk on water-ish. But we do look at experiences, like if you want a strong HR background, or if you want a strong finance background, or you're not worried about passing a bond because you guys knocked that one out of the park. Some districts, that's a huge thing. They need to pass a bond. They want a superintendent that's had that experience. So we can utilize those characteristics to help us. Those come from the focus groups and the survey. And the evening that I meet with you for our second meeting, I will get that same information from you. We tell our focus groups, we're gathering input for the board, because at the end of the day, the board decides what characteristics they want to see in the new superintendent. But all of that, the survey and the focus groups, gives you information and helps you make a solid decision. Great questions.
I've got one. I'm confident that we'll find a great candidate, but in the event that there's something that we can't agree on, or there's just not a candidate we feel is right at this time, do you all assist with naming an interim, or is that the board's responsibility?
We just make Jeff stay.
Okay, that's great.
Then
Sorry.
done.
There we go. It is on record.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, just say, sorry, Jeff, couldn't find anybody. Guess you can't retire. We will assist you in finding an interim if that's necessary.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, we want a decision on a candidate to be 7-0.
Yeah.
It's not always, sometimes it's not quite. And sometimes boards will decide in executive session. I don't know that I totally agree with this candidate, but I'll vote to accept them because it makes a difference in terms of how they feel coming on board. You don't want to take a job with a split board. That's not a good start. So yeah, good question. But we will work with you to find an interim should that be necessary.
Okay.
And then I'm assuming that this job posting goes out nationwide, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we posted a number of different places. You can imagine we get the most traffic in our in
Home
Kansas
state.
and our surrounding states. That's the most common destination from our applicants. But we do post it through some K-12 job spot. We post it through, we're a member of the National Association of Superintendent Searchers. So we put some information out that way. We advertise through the Superintendent's Association and get the word out just about everywhere we can. We put it out through some social media as well, LinkedIn, things like that. In terms of the agreement, and we've got plenty of time for questions should you have more. Our contract for this service is $6,500 along with travel expenses, and I live in West Wichita, so that's not very much. So just that amount plus my mileage that I'll turn in would be our contract amount for the service. Should we go through the search and stick to all of the processes that I've outlined, going through with the focus groups and our search process and following with our goals and expectations session after the superintendent is seated, our searches do come with a 1-year warranty should you end up in a situation that just doesn't work out in the first year and we've followed that process, we will repeat the search free of charge. There are no other search firms that do that. And we don't do it very often. It does happen occasionally, but every once in a while there's issues that arise. And then I don't know if when you would like to take action, or are you doing that during this meeting or?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So we'll do that at the end when you're done.
I didn't want to take my books back. That's all. I just.
Anybody if they have any.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Good enough. Get a lot of mileage out of that, taking my books back. Keep that in the arsenal. This is a draft timeline and focus on draft. We've been kicking this around the horn. And I will go through where I think we're at currently. Finger stick here as well. Thank you.
Before we get away from the budget,
Yes.
this is for Craig. I mean, we have to set up a separate line item, or do we need to discuss that in this meeting or what? I know it's 6,500 minimum, but
Yeah, we have board account lines that account for things like this. I mean, unfortunately, we're not able to afford the 6,500. No, I'm just kidding. So he has to stay once again.
Yeah.
Take that out of his vacation leave.
Right, no doubt.
What's going on?
hey, chill.
Just take it out of Jeff's vacation payout.
Yeah,
It'll be fine.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But
just
we,
on the board, the
yeah,
board.
just
budget,
board
right?
docket. Yeah, board.
So it's not a problem, is what you're saying.
It is not a problem.
Okay, no special meetings or votes or, okay,
Best you can get.
thank you.
Awesome. All right, so timeline wise, here's where we're at, proposed. First line is us meeting right now, so we can check that one off. Second line, 11/18, that's tomorrow is when we would go ahead and get it advertised. In fact, I'll submit it through our online system tonight when I get home. And it'll get processed tomorrow and posted tomorrow, so it will be live tomorrow. I targeted about a week out starting the survey. It's right before Thanksgiving, but it does at least get it out there with ample time after Thanksgiving to do some follow-up with whoever you send it to. And again, that's an optional piece. So I do want to make sure and confirm with you that you want to do the survey. Is that an option you would like to?
We're
To have.
talking about 20 or 30, so 60 people an hour all day long that we're going to bring in and do those conversations
Mhm.
with both staff and community.
Mhm.
So then the question would be, do we believe on top of that, we need? I just don't, I don't want community or staff coming in and answering and also doing the survey.
Yeah.
So that would be the only thing that I would caution on.
Yeah, let me speak to that. For a couple of reasons, and we can do either way. You're a large community. We're not going to see everybody.
Right.
So doing this survey at least allows you to gather input from a potentially large group, hundreds of constituents, families, parents, business owners, et cetera, that are not going to come to one of those focus groups. So it's a data point, and it can be pretty significant in a district this size in terms of the response rate. The focus groups, while they're not dependent on the survey having been conducted, they can dig deeper for those who, if they've done both, it's okay. Because a part of that focus group is not gathering individual opinions. It's working towards consensus in small groups. So we're just taking it a little bit deeper. So it's okay to do both. If you happen to do the survey and get selected for a focus group, it's not a problem.
Okay, there's no additional charge doing that.
No,
survey,
no.
but I don't know why.
Might as
anybody
well
would-
do it.
Yeah, I don't know why you would not.
Well, and with this time of year, I mean, just like my schedule, it's
In
it's
January.
it's helpful if some of those people aren't gonna have time with juggling kids and doing all the things to come.
Yeah,
to a
a big
focus
committee
group
needs to
too.
be in January.
Yeah.
So still.
Yeah, I don't,
With winter sport, I mean, winter sports is busy.
yeah, I don't know why. Does anybody have a concern?
I'm conflicted or confused.
Okay.
The survey of teachers or parents or whatever,
Mhm.
it's not going to be an online through a web. It's going to be, we're going to select 15 people and have them come in and talk to them.
There's
the
gonna be
focus group.
two different things. So there's potential for a survey that we could send out to the entire community and business leaders. And
Okay,
then there's a focus group that will occur. We're kind of looking at the 8th or the 9th of January, where we will bring in about 60 people per hour all day long to go through kind of a more in-depth focus group on characteristics. So this just kind of gives an additional data point into characteristics that community and staff would like to see in their next superintendent.
and when will all these data points be completed?
We'll have the survey I will bring to you when I come back to you on our second meeting. And we'll also discuss the focus groups at that time.
He wants to know when you'll have all the data sets complete of what
Yep.
the characteristics were that everybody picked out from the focus groups and the survey.
That you will have a draft. That next line where I have the yellow highlighted on dates, we've been kicking around dates.
Mhm.
The day that we come in to do focus groups, I will meet with you that evening in an open session, and I will share the results of the survey with you then. And it will list out those characteristics that are most prevalent, and it's a really nice tool. I will
Have
give
the focus group information in it as well that night.
you some draft information from the focus groups that evening prior to working with you on your desired characteristics. And then when I get back home over the next day or two, I'll finalize the information from the focus groups and send you a final document that has all of that information in it. I also provide that to all of our applicants, so they're aware of what you are looking for.
Barb, I know you have a question here.
I don't have any more.
Okay, perfect.
Great questions.
Is the job description that's posted on all of these, it's the same thing for superintendents across campus, no matter what. Or
It's
do any
pretty
districts
typical.
Change
Mm.
theirs.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. Um, you will, if there's anything specific in your job description that's, you want to make sure that we have included, we're happy to embed that, but we have kind of a standard superintendent job description plugged into our system.
I just wasn't sure because if we all vote and this goes and it's posted tomorrow, that doesn't give a lot of time to review the job description and see if maybe we would add or delete
Characteristics must
anything.
result.
Sorry, we can say cannot whistle.
Must use the word fabulous.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. That's it.
Do you have a current job description that you could
Yeah, we
provide
were
me?
Just actually teasing, we
Okay.
like to give Jeff a hard time, so we could hear whistling and Jeff likes to whistle.
Okay.
So we were kind of teasing about that, sorry,
Gotcha.
that's where that came from.
I understand.
We try and keep it lighthearted. It's
I-
a really hard job and there's
it-
a lot of hard decisions.
It
so
is,
We
absolutely.
try and find places where we can be some lighthearted sometimes.
So, I'll jot down yes on the survey. I think that's what I heard more of the consensus there. And I believe we're looking at the 8th, and for the focus groups, Debbie's gonna confirm her zoning, planning and zoning commission meeting conflict tomorrow. It's important for Debbie to be here for all of those meetings. She's a critical part of the process. But also again, that evening, you will meet. So we will need to have a special meeting that night. I think that's a Thursday. So-
We'll know for sure, board and I will engage with you guys once we have that date confirmed.
We see lots of different folks involved in focus groups. There are times we'll do like a high school student council. We've done district site councils. We have done groups of district administrators, both building and district level, kind of an administrative group to gather those viewpoints. Special times for classified staff to come in if they've got an opportunity to do so. Obviously, teachers and school-based staff. So there's lots of different ways. We can't see everybody in the focus groups, so very often I will just recommend, if you've got a large elementary school, maybe they select 5 or 6 teachers to come and be a part and not the entire school staff. And then they have to work out coverage for classrooms and things like that. So there's lots of ways to do it. We'll work with you guys, and I know Jennifer and Debbie are working up a plan, right? Okay, they got a plan. The window that I have is the application period closing on January 9th. That gives us several weeks, gets us through the holidays with a little bit of cushion. And then would give me a little bit of time for our final screening processes that we go through, and building out the presentation that I will make when I come back to meet with you, that I have tentatively scheduled for January 19th. That particular meeting would be an executive session. And I would share all of the candidate information with you, as I mentioned earlier, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And at the end of my presentation, I'm out. And you stay as long as you need to select your roster of candidates. We encourage the board that evening to call those that you would like to interview and begin to get those scheduled. I tentatively set those as a window of the Monday through Thursday the following week. That gives your applicants a little bit of time to get their life organized and make sure that they are available to come. We also encourage you to kind of think ahead in terms of There are some sample schedules in the search booklet on different ways you can plan a day when your candidates come to town, opportunities to visit your schools. Sometimes you want to have a reception for people to meet the candidates. That's totally up to you. We just always say it's not an interview. Don't let people start asking questions. That's your job as the board, but it's kind of a meet and greet. Spending time with the board informally, eat dinner together, and then go into executive session for your interview time. And those typically will run about 2 hours. And do that several nights in a row. So you'll be ready for a weekend. Typically, we would encourage you when your interviews are concluded to make your first and second choice, and then delegate the power of negotiation to your board president to negotiate on your behalf. When I come back on our meeting 2, one of the things I will give you is salary comps for similar sized districts around this area as well as across the state, just so you have kind of a ballpark of where salaries are landing. And then you can make some determinations there. I typically say just set a range that you would be comfortable with Jennifer working with, and then she can take your blessing to negotiate on your behalf and work through the details with the applicant. Included in the booklet are also sample press releases for the focus groups, for meet and greets, for notifying the public when you're having the candidates come in. Our recommendation is announce them one a day. Don't give out the whole list at once. Just introduce them the day that they're going to be in district. Very often, the folks that we are working with, at least some of them, have not made it known that they're in the market. So we want to respect that privacy. And I will let them know if you're chosen as a finalist, we're putting your name out and I'm calling your board president. But up until that point, every once in a while, we get some that are a little wary about letting their board know that they're looking for a job. But we work through that with you. What are your thoughts on the timeline? Does that generate any additional questions? We handled the legwork. You come back 2 more times for the search with me. That would be on the 8th, if we confirm that date, 8th of January, and again on the 19th. And then you all work together on the interviews. Definitely encourage all of you to be involved in every one of these meetings. It's so very critical that this is a full board decision. I know you've got a strong board. I live in the Wichita area. I know things, and I've been around a while, so I know you'll do good stuff. But I always like to just make that reminder, since occasionally we have board members that don't attend very often in some districts, and it kind of boggles my mind. This is the most important decision you will make, undoubtedly. Other question one? Oh, I did have one more thing. Residency. I will get asked, is residency required? You don't have to tell me for sure tonight, but it is a question that will come up particularly in an area like Hayesville. In the metro area, commuting is a normal thing. But I also know that residency is an important thing in the vast majority of districts, and I will get asked that question. So I want to kind of get your feeling now, as well as when you have an opportunity to cuss and discuss on down the road, if you want to pound that out a little bit further. Any initial thoughts, Jennifer?
If you're asking me specifically, I would tell you my specific thought is, that it's not something we've had in our contract in the past. We did put it in at the hiring of the last superintendent. I am not tied to residency. I'd like somebody to make sure that they're a member of our community, meaning that, we're showing up to community events and we're tied to the community, but I don't necessarily believe that means you have to live within school bounds. I do believe that right now housing is really tough. People trying to sell houses is tough. People trying to buy houses is tough. And so I do, I don't feel like residency has to be tied to our superintendent contract. That's my feeling, but I may be.
How do you guarantee then the community buy-in? Because you're just taking somebody's word for it at that point if you don't. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
The community buy-in or taking somebody's word for it. What do you mean?
Well, like if you're not
like-
requiring them to live within the district and they say, sure, I'm gonna be super involved in your community because they want the job, but there's no guarantee that they're not just saying that to be.
Well, I think there's safeguards around that. I mean, I
So
do
that's
think
what I'm
there's-
saying. Yeah, like we
there's
would just
steps
have
you can put
to,
in, there's goals you can put in.
sure.
I do think that there are some safeguards around that, just not.
And performance reviews.
I mean, I'm just playing,
Goal.
I'm just asking both sides of it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, and it's a good question to ask just to make sure, but I do think where we talk about residency within the contract, we can also talk about community member versus residency in the same contract. So where we say, well, we dictate you have to live within school bounds, we can say we dictate that you're, a community member. And then have goals or performance reviews around what that means.
Kind of act as if you live in the community.
Yeah, I know right now, a lot of schools have taken that piece out for various reasons.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is around housing markets and, if you have a community with children, upending those children, or I mean, superintendent with, small children, upending those children and kind of, changing that all around within a couple of months. So sometimes that's difficult, but that's my feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know if, obviously there's some devil's advocate or stuff that we'd have to think about as a board. I'm not for sure anything we're tied to, but people will ask whether or not they need to live here.
Yep.
Do you guys have thoughts?
I
Well, they-
definitely like the idea of having superintendent be a resident of the school district.
And an easy answer could be it's negotiable,
Yeah.
it's true too.
and you guys
I
can
don't-
work that out as you're working through that process. Another way to come at it too, especially the housing market is making it very difficult. And you can certainly, if you do land on requiring in-district residency, you can put a timeline within the next 18 months or something like that to at least take a little bit of the pressure off. But that's, again, that is totally your decision. I think it is becoming a little more flexible. Some of our rural communities have a hard time letting go of that. And some of them can't imagine why somebody wouldn't want to move to their community. But there's no housing and job stability in the superintendency is even kind of tough these days. So it's something to be considered for sure. I just encourage you to keep thinking about that as you have an opportunity to discuss it. It'd be great.
Let's take it as negotiable for now and then the board can talk.
Okay,
more.
very good. That's all I have unless you have further questions for me.
I'd like to go around, like, I'll get changed. I would start with Barb and just go around if that would be all right. Barb, do you have any questions?
No.
Bernie? No. Greg? Yes, you did.
Yes, you
Go
did.
ahead.
How do, you spoke of legwork and the process. A question I might have. You want us to direct it to Debbie? Debbie will forward it to you, and then she'll send it all out to all 7 of us. Is that how you want to do it, via email? Is that the best way to do it?
I would like that so the board is all on the same page. We do that today when there are questions by a board member.
That'd be great.
To all 7 board
Yeah.
members. So for
I'd-
process following, I would prefer that.
Absolutely.
That way too, I know what you've asked and I know what the answer, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
We're not
That's a great
re-asking.
way for us too, so that,
Yeah,
yeah. so
that's
that we're
fine.
Getting the same information.
It's a clarification, so
Yeah.
that's why we want to do it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally fine.
Greg, any additional questions?
I'm sorry.
Do you have any additional?
No, thank you.
Okay, Kelly,
I'm good. Thank you.
here, Tasha. I'm good. Okay, and then for me.
All right.
All right, with that being said, folks, I'm going to make a motion that we hire KASB to start our superintendent search.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Jennifer and a second by Kelly. Board, do you have any questions before we take a vote? All right, all in favor to hire KSB to start the superintendent search? With much reluctance, it's a 7-0 vote.
Barely made it on that one.
I just wanted to keep the book.
Yeah, I've heard that before, just last week in Renwick. I didn't want to give my book back.
So thank you very much, Dr. Miller, for being here and kind of guiding us through the process. Board, thank you very much for the vote. And with that, I'm going to close our meetings for the special meeting. Thank you.